Today I thought I'd just do an update on the steering issue I had with this bike. So I've got it up on a block at the front. We got the wheel off the ground. I did loosen off the steering head hex from where it was roughly down here in this groove area up to where you see the little green mark there. So I loosened it off, and if you look at the steering now, so it's pretty free, and it's an improvement compared to what it was. Now at this stage I think if you're looking at it, it'd be more like just a half fix. What I mean by a half fix is, to do it properly, I think the best idea would be to pull the front forks right out of the bike and get into the steering head there, pull that out, clean the bearings if I can, top and bottom, give them a good clean out, and then give them a total repack with good quality waterproof grease. So that's the idea. I've got a couple of projects on the moment where I'll need the bike, and the bike's riding all right at the moment and steering okay. In fact, the bike's riding really well, and like I said, steering all right. So I'll get those projects out of the way first. As a rule, you know, when it comes to Enfield itself is pretty sloppy when it comes to putting grease in some of these bikes, especially the Himalayans. There's been a lot of reports of bearings going wrong in brand new Himalayans and just travelling, you know, 1500, 2000 kilometres, and similar sort of bearing to what's in this particular bike. And they've been chopped out of that bike in very low kilometres on the BS4 model Himalayans. And I thought it might be a good idea if I get into it and do something about this one too. It could have that bit of a problem, and it could have been tightened from the factory a little bit close to being too tight, or it could be the opposite, where it was packed with very little grease. Over the years I did have a C5 from brand new. It had a steering problem where they tightened up that, once again, the hex nut on top of the C5, and it was a bit tight right from the very start, and after a few hundred kilometres from new, that bike virtually froze on the steering on one straight when I was out riding around one of the local areas, and actually put me off the road because I couldn't steer the bike at all, and it just went straight ahead, and I was lucky no cars were around, and so I actually went straight off the road at 80 kilometres an hour, and I was lucky it was in an area where there was no trees, and I just went straight into the paddock and went to a quick park, and I was lucky to get out with no drama to myself, no drama to the bike. Now the other thing these Enfields have been known to be bad for is oil in the front forks. They're not very uniform in that line too, so even especially in C5s, quite a lot of people have pulled the front forks out of C5s and found that, example, X amount of mil in one side fork, and then the other fork there might be 20, 30 or 50 mils of fork oil lighter. So you know, they're not very consistent in how they put the bikes together, and you'd think in the export models they would be a little bit more consistent in the work they do, because after all, in the export ones, they're the ones where the people get out and throw the words around and complain worldwide what they think of the bikes. So that would be the ones I'd be concentrating on, one to give a good rep. But as a rule, the Interceptor itself is a pretty good bike. The other thing that I'm doing at the moment too is I give up that idea on my last oil change at 3,500 kilometres to get rid of the Silcoline oil, which I tried in the bike for roughly 3,000 kilometres. I didn't regard it much good and not worth the price. That was a fully synthetic oil and fairly expensive, and I'm now running Penrite semi-synthetic, and I've run that for 2,500 k's. So on Sunday, Supercheap was having a special, and the price was $50 for the Penrite semi-synthetic in 10W50, and they were on special at $37.50, so I bought a container of that, and that will do me 2 oil changes. And I've got a spare filter in stock, and I'll do an oil change on this bike. Now it's done exactly 6,000 k's, and after I do that oil filter, I'll then fit the new sump guard I've got there, and I won't have to come back to this bike till I hit 10,000 k's. So that's a bit of just a run up what's going on at the moment with this particular bike, and I can keep you informed what happens. And once again, thanks for tuning in, taking a look, and if you'd like, you can always subscribe to the channel.